All right, hello everybody, and welcome to today's stream. It's going to be a brief stream this afternoon, just because I want to make sure that we're covering this very important topic, but it's actually not a very difficult topic to do. Recently with the various issues around racial injustice in this country that folks are finally waking up to, one of the minor subtopics that has come up is the idea of removing the master branch, or the name of the master branch, and changing that branch, which is commonly the default name in a Git repository, changing that default branch to something like main. And the goal here is to make sure that everyone feels welcome and that the defaults here represent current nomenclature that's up to date in today's society. And so I figure, why not show people the process of doing this really quickly, just to make sure that folks kind of see it go through the real world in a couple of places, because it's something I've been meaning to do for a little bit anyway. And so, why not? The best time was probably years ago, and the second best time is now, right? So let's go ahead and do that today. So I'm going to select two repositories. One is a project I've been working on in the open source world on the past streams called the Repo project, and the other project that I'm going to be renaming the branch for today is my personal blog, just to do that. So we'll talk about different build processes and going through and how to update those things, and we'll see if we hit any snags along the way, but I'm predicting a fairly straightforward process. So if you've ever had difficulty updating that branch before, or you're unsure what will happen, or you might just need a little kick yourself to get started, go ahead and do that. In fact, given that, I'd like to thank my colleague Dan Luring, because we've been talking about this and how it's important and low-hanging fruit and that kind of stuff, and so it's important that we actually go do those things once we talk about how important they are or how easy they are. And one more point before I get started is that this is not meant to be some performative thing. The idea of renaming one of these branches it's low-hanging fruit. It's not something that we're going to do and then say, cool, we solved problems, right? But it's an easy thing to do. It's a low-hanging fruit to do, and we should be able to do this fairly easily and allow ourselves to move on to a new standard that better represents who we want to be as a community. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and click over, and let's get started on renaming these branches. Okay, first up, let's do my personal blog. So I've got a blog, my repositories here at GitHub. I just created a quick issue for myself here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's go and pull my source code for my blog here. We can see here the current branch is currently master. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a branch off of that and call it main. That sounds lovely. And before I do that, I'm just going to double check and make sure I'm going to make sure I'm not going to lose the history of that. It should be fine. Base branch in a repository against which pull requests will be made. Specify a different branch. Okay, that seems completely reasonable. So I've made a branch off of off of the master branch here. I'm calling it main. We'll go ahead and publish that branch. All right. So I've got that branch published. All right, it's going to open GitHub. It's opens it to a pull request page, but I'm not actually doing a pull request. So now that I've got that there, what I want to do is go ahead and change my branches here, and I want to switch my default branch to the main branch. Go ahead. Now we see there's no branch protection rules, so all pull requests and code commits are automatically made. So one thing that's important to note here is that I've got some pull requests pending for different articles and things that I might have in progress. So I'm going to go ahead and need to change the base branch for those pull requests so that they'll actually work. I'm going to go ahead and do that shortly in a moment. And I also deploy my site currently through Netlify, so we're going to log into Netlify and change the branches there. We'll make sure that everything works. I might push a test commit of some kind just to watch everything flow through the process. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Updating, changing your default branch can have unintended consequences that can affect new pull requests and clones. I understand. Great, so we've got our main branch there. Now we've got branch. Now note that if I was to go into, we'll do a fake edit of the README here. So we'll add a URL. Great. Go ahead and do that. Update README. I'll create a new pull request here. So let's double check. That should create it. See, attempting to go back into the main branch. Okay. So we'll update our README. Now my guess is that that's great, but Netlify hasn't updated anything yet. So I'm going to go ahead and first I'll go into my pull requests. I've got a bunch of them. So this is, you know, not a small task, but or really not a hard task. Just takes a couple minutes. So just go ahead and open them up. That may be harder if you're a blog that, or if you're a code repository that has 100 of these, but it's one of those things where it's pretty minor, and I bet you there's probably a way to automate it. Also, now you all get to look at a tiny preview of all the blog posts that I keep meaning to write but have not yet. Alright, so just to see here for the idea, you can see here wants to merge 5 commits into the base, and the base branch is specified as master. You can also see if we drop that down that main has been switched to the default, which is great. So let's go ahead that. New review comments may become outdated. Okay, so if I need to have different review comments, I need to do that. This should be fairly simple. Let's go ahead and do that. If anybody from GitHub watches this feed, this would be a great thing to automate right here, and saying that I definitely want to do this across all the things in my repository. And I've heard some talk about GitHub looking to make this easier for people, and so hopefully that will be coming in the future. All right, so we're going to go ahead and change all these pull requests. Great. This is yet another reason why you shouldn't keep a gazillion drafts in your blog folder. There are other reasons, but this is yet another one. Guess I should start hitting publish. So while we do this, I'm curious as to anybody out there who's watching the stream right now, if you have different, if you're concerned about different build systems or anything like that. Is there anything in particular that you're worried about for changing these branches, or any hesitations that you have around something like this? I'd be curious to know, because maybe we can work through an example here on the stream right now as well. Hey, thanks, Scott. Great to have you on the stream. Thank you for joining. Definitely happy to have you. And it looks like Scott, true to form, has actually provided a script to rename to master, or to rename the master branch. So just double checking this here. Fantastic. Okay, so you change that. So Scott, one thing I'm curious about that I haven't seen here is about updating all of the pull requests to change the base against that. Does this script cover that? It looks like we might want to add an update for that. Let's see. Though I always love it when someone like Scott, who's like one of my favorite prolific bloggers, drops by, and as it turns out, I have to show all the drafts of blog posts that I haven't written yet. So definitely time to start hitting publish. Someone's got to try to keep up with Scott. Oh, that is one of the funniest moments that I have had. It turns out that I saw SH in the chat because of the line break and thought that Scott Hanselman was in my chat. Dan, you pranked me without even knowing it, but that is great, and God, just so humbling. So humbling. Okay, well, let's continue on that then. This is great, and now Alex is going to see this. Oh, man. Okay, Dan. Yeah, I hope you have a good laugh about that one. Oh, and Alex is there too. Great. Awesome. Now, everyone has to know that I have a developer crush on Scott Hanselman, so it's fine. All right. Okay, so we're almost done. We're moving at a pretty good clip here. And again, I have a bunch of pull requests open. I don't even think this is going to take this long. Okay. Renaming the last of these. Now, and this should be fine in the future if if I miss one of these, it's not hard to go back and change them. So this should be easy enough to do. Okay. I'll probably want to double check them one last time before I delete the master branch, just so that I can do that. Okay, so next up, right, so I've got that there. I think what I'm going to have to do is look at my Netlify CMS admin page, which is something that first I have to remember where that is. I guess it's in the admin folder config. Okay, so I'm just double checking to see. Okay, we can see here that the branch is currently the master branch, and I'm going to say change that to main. Get rid of master by default because that is not what we want anymore. The branch to update is main branch. All the rest of this stuff looks correct. So we'll say I have the issue that I created. So let's go ahead. What issue number was that? 479. So let's go ahead and say supports 479. Okay, we'll commit that directly to the main branch. You can see it's no longer the master branch. Commit directly to the main branch. Let's go do that. Okay, and while we're at it, I'm just going to go ahead and search my blog for the text master, because why not? Make sure that this is good here. Okay, that's the admin config that I had just changed. That's fine. That is a container I'm referencing. Okay. This is old references. I'll want to change this to master, right? So edit this. So this is a blog post here, and let's see. Okay, so I'm going to want to say blob. I think I can say blob main posts. Okay, there. So I've got my branch there. Let's go search for master here. Update that to main. Okay, good. Master to main. Supports 479. Okay, so now we're back. Now we're editing actual blog contents and just making sure that my old stuff references a branch that still exists. Config. Here we go. Another config. This time is from the actual config of my Jekyll blog. So we will want to update that. Okay. Updating the main. Let's look for it here. The branch here. It's actually commented out. So no worries. This is for the static man stuff. Anyway, we'll change it just to have it there in case I ever uncomment it. Why not? Okay, not mentioned elsewhere there. That's good. Okay, so do it again. Commit master main supports 479. Okay, so now we've committed those things to the main branch. We should come over here to code, see that our default is the main branch, see those recent commits. Still getting used to the new GitHub interface on that. Okay, master main. All right, so we got those. Great. Okay, that is here. Okay. So let's go to Netlify. I'm going to log in. I'm going to go ahead and what? Did I use my GitHub? I think it was GitHub. All right, so let's go ahead to GitHub. Get my Netlify blog. I believe there are also some GitHub pages settings I need to do because I think I published from my main branch. So let's go ahead and look at the site settings here. All right. Let's go to build and deploy. Let's edit the settings. repository production branch, it says here is master, so I'm going to edit that and we'll say main. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Okay. Okay, we've got that there, so I should be able to see a couple things now. Let's give this a shot. We are going to, my blog should be deploying that stuff once I go ahead and do GitHub pages again. So let's go to the settings for my blog. We'll update, go to the GitHub pages section. It is being served there. So your GitHub is currently being built from the master branch. Interesting. So how do I stop that? Very interesting. Okay. Well, this might be our first. This might be our first hiccup. I wonder if I need to turn off GitHub pages and turn it back on. Unable to change the source branch. Or only published from the master branch. Interesting. So this is from December 31st, 2019. So this is very interesting. Okay. So I think, so we're going to have to get around this in some way. One, that's super annoying, and I'm glad that GitHub is looking into it. Let's go ahead and tweet about that right now just to make sure it's on their radar. Let's just do all right, so I think now we're in the territory of doing a GitHub action, so why not? Let's go ahead and do that. So I've got my repository now, and what I'm thinking is, right, so I've got my main branch, and what I want to do is I want to say, essentially, this looks like I won't be able to delete the master branch without deleting my site. I have a couple things I could do here. I could serve the full site from Netlify if I wanted to, which is already doing all of my preview deployments and things like that. That would be a little bit tricky in terms of how I got the DNS set up. I'd have to go, change that in Netlify, and there are probably some other considerations there. I think what I probably want to do for now is tell GitHub pages that whenever a commit is made to the main branch, to also then push that commit to the master branch. Right, so main is our default branch, and we should be able to then push that commit to GitHub pages. So I think that's something that we can do. And if I look at the nature of the build every hour, I think I already have a job where I use a personal access token. Yeah, so I can already use a GitHub access token here. And the way that I'm doing that is, if you look at the code in GitHub workflows, schedule posts, I'm already using a thing called secrets .pages _ access _ token, and so that's a secret that I've added to my repository, so I can already reference that, and that's needed to do some GitHub specific things like pushing to another branch, etc. So let's go ahead and look up GitHub Action push to another branch, and I'll set up an action that every time I push to the main branch will also force push that to the master branch. Why not? First, I'll make sure that none of the branches are protected, or that the master branch or the main branch is not. The main branch is protected, but the old master branch is not. So let's go ahead, just while I'm at it, add a protection branch for main. I don't want anybody to be able to delete that. I'm also going to protect the master branch so it can't be deleted, because otherwise I'll come back here and delete it, not thinking about it, and that would not be great because it would take my whole site down for now. So let's go ahead and add a rule. And I will, however, allow force pushes because that's probably what we're going to want to do. Okay, so now I've got those branches protected, at least for now. Can I add comments as to why that's happening? No. Okay, so either way, that's okay. We've got a default branch of main. We've got that. Let's go ahead and let's Google real quick. GitHub Action push to branch. I've done it before. There's a specific container that's helpful, and I don't remember where I did it before. Oh, you know what? It might be under Farmer. I may have done it for Farmer. 1 second. So there's an open source repository called Farmer, which is an F# based repository for generating Azure resource management templates, which is great. Isaac has been lovely to work with, and I just set up some documents there for them just to make sure that they had what they needed. Part of that is a GitHub workflow here that I might be able to steal here to help myself. 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here, and I think, let's see, checkout branch, setup, you go, deploy. So here it is, GitHub Actions pages. Now this is not letting me push to any branch. This is pushing specifically to the GitHub pages branch. Looks like that might be hard-coded. Let's check it out. By the way, GitHub Actions are amazing. Let's go see if this can be configured. Have the GitHub token, have the directory to publish, have double checking. Publish branch and publish directory. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say actions GitHub pages. Oh, it's deploying. That probably kicks off a deploy as well. So that's not necessarily what I want to do. All right, let's just look. GitHub Actions push to branch. Let's just do this one. GitHub push action. Let's see how it works. Just check out. Push changes. Pushing. You can push to a branch. You can force push. This seems reasonable. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this. We'll go ahead and check out the information so far. Double check and see if a lot of people are using this. Okay, it's getting some decent. I'm just checking for security's sake because, you know, obviously you're running a container. It's going to have the ability to do whatever you're looking to do. Okay, it has its own workflows. Start to SH. Okay. Cool. I'd like it more if the Docker file was the Docker file are released under the MIT license. So where is the Docker file? I don't see an actual Docker file. So it's a little concerning, but we're going to go ahead and check it out anyway and do that because YOLO. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that, and let's get that into a workflow file. So we'll go ahead and we'll create a GitHub action. Okay, so the new workflow is going to be choose a starter workflow, set up a workflow yourself. So the workflow is going to be called push master or main changes into master branch. We'll say this workflow is necessary to support publishing to GitHub pages even after I've renamed my default branch to main. So we'll go ahead. We don't want to run it for pull requests. We only want to run it for pushes. Any push to the master branch, or sorry, any push to the main branch. We're going to run this build sorry, the job push to master. Let's see what's this. Okay, let's edit what we've got here. So we've got build steps. Oh, I missed it. Never mind. Let's go ahead, push to master branch. It'll run there. So we have. Let's go back to our example here. Where am I at? There we go. Okay. So this is what we're looking to do, and I want to, now I've got the options here, right? So I'm going to run the GitHub token branch is going to be the branch's destination to push changes, and the default is master, which is probably not great for most people. But let's actually go ahead and specify that explicitly. Okay. The key, let's see here. Force is going to be true. Not going to use tags. The directory is going to be everything. The repository is going to be the current one. Okay, that is definitely what we want. So I don't know why this is trying to auto help me here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say force true. And then he is not going to. I don't know why it's it's gotcha. It's auto completing keys and values. That's nice. Okay, that's helpful once you realize what it's doing. And then let's go ahead and this branch master force true. Directory. Oh, I think I probably have to check it out as well. That makes more sense. So let's go. And I probably shouldn't have done that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to store these changes real quick and just get that checkout action back again one more time, because I never remember how to do that. Let's just go ahead and go to actions. I've copied it over onto my screen there. So we'll go to new workflow, set up a workflow yourself. Okay, we've got that checkout step now. Let's go ahead and uses actions checkout. Okay, now let's go ahead and, all right, so now we're back. So we've got the step uses action slash checkout slash v2. We're going to double check and make sure that the default branch is what's checked out by default there, and that it's not hard coded to master. So let's check that out. Okay, so in GitHub, all right, in the GitHub Actions repo here, we have, okay, uses the default branch. Okay, so by default, it uses the default branch. Was great. That should be our main branch. The default uses the GitHub token. The default path is everything. Okay, that should be good by default. Thank you, GitHub, for sensible defaults on that. So what I think should happen here, and we will see if that is the case, is that I should, once those changes are pushed into a master branch, we should see this kick off and push into the, or in the main branch, we should see this kick off and push things to the master branch. And then we'll hopefully someday I can just delete this. Let's go ahead and start that commits. I'm going to commit it directly to the main branch. Add workflow to force push main to master so that GitHub pages can still deploy. supports 479. All right, commit that file. It's called main.yml. I'm actually, I probably should rename that. Let's go ahead and rename that. Push main to master GitHub pages for GitHub pages. Okay. So we have that rename. I'll say again, supports 479. All right, so we should have that GitHub action there. I see it there, push main changes into the master branch. So rename there, I've committed it to main, right? So let's see what's happening actually. If let's go ahead and look at it. It has checked out all my stuff. Okay. It has pushed the changes, forced push to that. It has run the post checkout actions. So let's go ahead and look at my code and pull this master branch, which unfortunately still exists, and look at the commit history there. We should see some so there we go, rename name. So the commits are there, which is great. So let's go ahead now and make a change on my website. We should see the pull request and everything reflected against main, and then we should see that actually work when it gets to master. So let's go ahead and let's look at something I could change here. Let's see. Okay, I see an ampersand here. Let's go ahead and change that ampersand to an and, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got my blog here. I'm going to go ahead and suggest an edit. Here's something I'm seeing. The edit link actually is hard-coded to the master branch, it looks like. So I see edit/master down at the in the bottom URL container. So that's something I will have to fix on my suggested edit. So I'm going to go ahead. For now, I'm going to go ahead and change this specifically to main. All right. And so helpful. And we'll update that ampersand. And so we're going to commit this to the main branch. So change ampersand to and. Testing out, and we'll add a comment there, testing out 479. We'll commit that directly to the main branch. So what we should see is in a couple of minutes, SeanClean.com, the article should reflect that change, which will tell us that we've merged into the main branch successfully, and then our GitHub Actions is taking care of dealing with the master branch changes behind the scenes. And then we should be able to, I'll see if I can find where that link is coming from for the edit link. So let's go ahead and open the blog here. Let me just go ahead and close everything I've got open. And then I'm just going to do a search here, see if I can find where that's happening. I think it's going to be in an include for editing links. Oh, I may need to pull latest. Okay, so let's figure out where the heck that is coming from. I think it's in includes. I'll close my post folder. I think it's in includes edit links HTML. So suggest an edit. Site.github.repository URL. Okay, so let's look at that. That would be in our site settings. So let's go into our config. Repository URL. Okay, let's go through. Interesting. Is it hard coded? Edit links. Let's see. Okay, that is GitHub. Oh, sorry, GitHub edit link. Silly. Okay. So let's find GitHub edit link. Okay, am I passing that in somewhere? So let's find edit links. Let's see. Okay. So we're including it there. Are we setting the... Okay, let's see where that's happening. Include links.html. So interestingly enough, I wonder if GitHub edit link is set by default on my theme. Let's go ahead and check that out. So it's interesting because I remember talking with Dan about how this isn't that involved and how this is fairly straightforward. And while I still think that to be true, it's clear that it's not just the same as rename things, right? So you have to go in, and when you're referencing the branch, you have to find a way to do that, and you may need to help some of your upstream projects deal with that. Like I think I'm about to submit a pull request to the theme that I use, which is a great theme called Minimal Mistakes. Let's see if I can go to the GitHub repo there. And I want to look for GitHub edit link, I think was that was. GitHub edit link. It's the only spot where that is found. Okay, so let's see if it's somewhere in the theme that I'm using here. So if I look at the code and I try to search this repository, let's go ahead and search for GitHub edit link. Where the heck? Okay, so I wonder if that's a GitHub pages here. So let's see, I think she's... Okay, so I'm using the GitHub. This is actually great. So there's actually a suggestion here, which is nice, because I think what we can see here is the branch name is what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead, think about that. The thing is clear solve. So I may submit this as a pull request here, just to see if we can help that along. So I will go ahead and instead of GitHub edit link, I'm gonna personally use here. We should be able to do something along the lines of, so here it's site.repository/edit I'm going to call this site.repository. Let's do site.default branch. Is that casing the right one? Oh, we actually have back. Let's do that. Backend.branch. So, and that's just my variable. So, branch. It's my variable there in configuration. So we'll go ahead, and then we should have the page path. All right, let's give that a shot. I'll create a pull request here and see if that gives us the... Actually, no, I'll go ahead and commit it right to main here. And go ahead and see that. So commit, so update, edit this post link. Refer to the default branch rather than hard coding to master. Oh, let me see. Actually, I want to do a git amend. Git commits. Oh, what is it? Is it git commit -a to amend? I never remember. Git commit amend message. Oh, change it. Commit message. I never remember. -- amend. Okay. All right. Dan, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate you coming out. Sorry I didn't see your message earlier. Definitely good to to have it here. So git commit dash amend. All right, we should. Really? Okay. I just want to go ahead and we'll say we're in like Vim right now, I think. So supports number 479. Go ahead and escape. Well, then we'll do colon. I think it's WQ. Did I get that right? That's awesome. It has been a moment since I have. All right. It has been a moment since I've done that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and push that. All right. This seems like it would be a good idea for a blog post. So I'm probably going to write that up as well. Let's go ahead and create another. Let's go ahead and create an issue in my repo here. Oh, in fact, you know what? At this point, the blog should be deployed, so I should be able to go to seanklean.com/admin, which is my Netlify admin interface. Oops. It's my Netlify admin interface. I should be able to create a new blog post here, and that should go against main. So let's go and we'll go ahead and see if that works. How to rename your default branch away from master while using Github pages. So let's go ahead and just remember, so we'll outline some thoughts. You have to add the new branch, change the default, update pull requests, attempt to change branch in GitHub pages. Oops, can't. GitHub action to force push from main to master. What tags will be, we'll just add a tag real quick of GitHub just to get it out there. So this should, I'll copy this real quick. It should be able to save this draft. This is Netlify CMS, by the way. It's a great way to throw a headless CMS or a CMS on top of your content. This is just a JavaScript file that exists in my repository, and it's a fantastic tool in that way. So I should be able to see a pull request. Oops, wrong repository. I should be able to see a pull request now. There it is. It should be against the main branch, and it is. That's great. Okay, so now we've got a blog post brewing there. And I forgot. Okay, so we'll give this a second, and we'll see if I can see that change here. Since we pushed it to master by now, it should be there. In fact, I can go confirm that. Code. Go to that old master branch. All right. And we should see the commit. Okay, so it is there. It was 4 minutes ago. I think it's probably been deployed. GitHub Pages is pretty fast. Let's go ahead and look at this article. I cleared my cache. We can see that the URL is now pointing to... okay. Looks like I have the edit link wrong. You see edit // It's actually not specifying a branch. So it's not reading that config correctly, so it's a 404. That's not great. Let's go ahead and figure out what I did wrong. Oh, I think it's site.backend.branch because double checking that. It's site.repository. Oh, I'm in the admin config. That'll do it. Let's look at what my Jekyll config is. Wrong config file. So right here, repository. I'm going to go ahead and update that to, we'll call it default branch. That makes sense. So this will be site.default branch. Go ahead and add that to my config here. repository default branch, and we'll say default branch is default branch. So I've got site.default branch. So, and edit the branch on the page path. It looks like the page path was correct, so we'll go ahead and do that. Let's commit that to the main branch again. Utilize correct configuration in edit link, supports 479. Okay, we'll go ahead and push that. Great. So for those of you who are on the feed, I'm always interested to know what branches you might be pushing or what activities you might be doing there. So let me know how you are, how you make out with that sort of thing, or what build systems you're encountering. Always interested to hear that. Maybe we can tackle it together. All right, so we should be able to go back and see that code again. Go ahead and see that. It should be force pushed already, hopefully. It was force pushed 34 seconds ago. All right, so we'll give that a minute. Okay. What's building against that? Oh, interesting. This is actually really nice. I didn't realize that actually GitHub Pages shows you where it's building, so I can actually look at that and see the GitHub page build and see it happening. Oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't realize that. Cool. That's very nice. So if I refresh this, I see that it actually has been deployed. That is so we learned something new today too. Okay, that's great. We'll go to our blog article here. We'll clear our cache, and we can see here github.com /Sean GitHub. Oh, edit. Default branch is. Did I do that wrong? Did I write it wrong in the config? Oh my goodness. It helps if I don't typo the wrong branch. There we go. And one last time, get the branch right. Supports 79. All right. We will go ahead and push that up. We'll wait one last time. We'll watch this in action. So the good news is it looks like that's actually, it's definitely happening, right? We're able to see those changes. They're being force pushed. The link just isn't quite correct. And so we'll go ahead and wait for that one last time. Gonna go ahead and close some of these windows. Okay. Let's go to that. Go to those commits again. Wrong repo. That would be helpful if I went to the right repository when I closed all those windows. We'll do that one next, so no worries. All right. So it looks like that's there. The pages have deployed. That's great. We should go ahead and see page. We'll refresh it, suggesting an edit now. It looks like that does indeed go to the main branch. I can click on that, double check that it's right. It is editing that post on the main branch, and I'll say quick test of edit functionality. We'll go ahead and say blah blah blah. This is a pull request I'll just close. I just want to make sure that it creates that branch and does the pull request correctly against the main branch. Looks like it does set it up against the main branch. That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and not make that pull request. So at this point, we're done with the blog, and that is we're done with the changes on the blog, and that's great because that means that we can move on to the next repository, and that repository is using Azure DevOps. So one down, several more to go, but this one was one of the more complex ones that I have. So let's see if the other stuff goes a little easier. Okay. So the next repository that I want to change the master branch to the main branch on. Oh, sorry, actually you should go close that issue. I think that's reasonable. We now have renamed the branch. We've done everything we can for now for GitHub Pages. We have all those commits tracked there. This is now complete as much as possible until GitHub Pages supports alternate deployment branches for my repository. Or default. Alright, so we'll close that. Okay, so that's now done. Next up, this repo. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and check that out. I will pull the repo here. This time we're going to go ahead and create a new branch, main. We're going to publish that branch. Alright, it is published. We're going to jump over to our settings here. We're going to go ahead and set the branches again. I'm going to go ahead and protect the main branch for sure. And I'm going to protect the master branch as well for now. And then we'll delete it at the end if we can. Hopefully we'll be able to actually delete it. Alright, so now we've got that same thing. We have to redo our pull requests here, our base branch. So we have that work in progress. I'm going to go ahead and edit that and change the base branch to, oh, sorry, I have to set the default branch to main first. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh my goodness, where did I have that again? Branches. Default branch is main. Update it. Yes, I understand. Go ahead and edit the pull request here to make it against main. Change that. Great. Now we've got our Azure DevOps, which is here in, we'll check our GitHub here, Dependabot right now. I think Dependabot needs to understand the different defaults. So I think I want to check this. Dependabot creates, you can opt out at any time. Okay. I think I want to specify branch. So let's look at Dependabot YAML. Dependabot config files. Okay, an example. Can you choose? All right, here are the options. Let's see. Target branch, the branch to create pull requests against. So I think we would do that for the target branch. So we'll update target branch. Oh, by default, your repository's default branch is used. So no worries there. That's good. So Dependabot should continue to operate exactly as we think it will. Azure pipelines. Now we have some different things to kick off here. We've got, we want to trigger it against the main branch. We want to do all PRs against the main branch. Let's see if there's anything else to do here. It builds the image. It should still push it. Okay. We also have one more reference there to master. I'm going to double check that's the only one. Heads main. So we'll say update Azure pipelines build. And that supports 82. Supports number 82. I'll commit that directly. Given that now, we should go ahead and see a build kickoff in our Azure DevOps pipelines. Let's go check that out. Okay. Check our pipeline here. We can see it is building against the CI for main. That's great. Once that's done, that should be all we need to do, because this is building our artifacts and the release is kicking off based on the result of that build. Just to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and go to my releases page, and I'm going to edit that, because I may be referencing the master branch here as well. Let's double check. Ah, there we go. So the branch here that we care about pulling in artifacts from is going to be the main branch. So that should be what we need to do there. Go ahead and save, update branch name. All right, let's see if there's any reference here to the artifacts. I don't believe there should be. Nope. Okay, deploy. Okay. So nope, it's going to push that, and then it should continue to do what it does. Okay, so that we should be good on this point. So let's go ahead and watch that pipeline finish running. Then we'll watch that release get created. We'll watch it go out the door, and then we should be good to go on that front as well. Okay, looks like things are being built and pushed. All right, things are being labeled. Shouldn't be long now. Okay, the container is pushed. Means we should see a release be created shortly. And now it may also be possible that that last release, that isn't creating a release. It takes a minute or two sometimes. So this was created, it was against the main branch. I would expect to see, go ahead and expect to see a deployment created against this, or a release created against this. And if not, I may have to manually create a release the first time, and that's okay with me. I'm just going to double check my release and make sure that it is indeed pulling the main branch. Okay, it is there. Same project, same specific branch. Okay, so it should be creating that. All right. It also is possible it may be cached, so we'll have to think about some of the things there. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and create a release. We should see that it comes from main, and we can see it's 2020-06-16.8. Let's make sure that's the result of that last pipeline, so it's available. All right, that is it correctly. So in this case, I think it might have just missed it, so sort of a caching issue or something. So let's go ahead and create a release manually. Go ahead, it does see the correct build, which is great, so it sees that that's the right artifact. And we'll go ahead and create that. And this should run without issue because it's just pulling from the container registry. Once that's into production, we should be good. Looks like that shouldn't take too much longer. Almost done. Restarted successfully. I should still be able to go to that website now, which is logging me in and doing an expensive operation the first time out. We see the site does load as I expect it to, and so great. It looks like at this point we have completed our task for the day. So let's recap a little bit. So in this stream today, we went through the idea of renaming the master branch to main, and we did that across a repository with GitHub Pages and Netlify admin, the Netlify CMS. We also did that for a website, an ASP.NET Core website connected to Azure DevOps and using containers. So we were able to update the Azure DevOps pipeline and get that working as well. And so this is to say that while it may not be a completely trivial or do it in one second change, it's not hard to take the considerations into account. It's not hard to make this change, and so it seems in the end a completely light lift for something that is a low-hanging low-hanging fruit to help people feel that much more, a little bit more welcome in our developer community. So this is the end of the stream for today. I wanted to just do a quick stream to make sure everyone was familiar with how to do that. If you have experience renaming your branches, or you want to talk a little bit about that, or you need some additional help in making that happen, let me know. I'm sure we can team up and make it happen. So until next time, I hope you're all well. I love you all, and happy coding. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.